Hello, welcome. Today we're distilling My Life and Work, the book Henry Ford wrote with Samuel Crowther. It's not just an autobiography, it's a practical playbook from a man who changed how things are made, how people worked, and in many ways how modern business thinks. Over the next 15 minutes, I'll walk you through Ford's life lessons, his obsession with simplicity and efficiency, the birth of the Model T, and the moving assembly line, his ideas about wages and workers, and the core principles that drove his success. No lectures, just a friendly tour of the ideas you can use whether you build cars, run a team, or simply want to think more clearly about work. 1. The Early Spark, From Farm Boy to Tinkerer. Mini title: Curious Hands, Practical Mind. Ford's story begins in the fields of rural Michigan. As a boy, he loved taking things apart and putting them back together. Clocks, watches, threshing machines. That early habit of hands-on tinkering became the backbone of his whole approach. He trusted practical knowledge over fancy theory. Metaphor: think of Ford as someone who learned to read by touching the letters, not by studying grammar rules. He learned how machines behave by listening to their sounds and feeling their resistance. This curiosity led him from repairing farm equipment to working in Detroit shops and eventually to building his first gasoline engine. He wasn't impressed by elegance for its own sake. He wanted things that worked reliably, cheaply, and simply. 2. A simple goal: make a car everyone could afford. Mini title: One Clear North Star. Ford set a blunt objective: build a car that the average working person could buy and then sell it at a price people could afford. Many competitors chased luxury or novelty. Ford chased volume and simplicity. That single goal shaped every decision: designs, materials, production methods, distribution. Everything answered one question: will this make the car cheaper and simpler to produce without sacrificing usefulness? 3. The Power of Simplification, Designed for Manufacture. Mini title: The Beauty of Less. Ford's design ethic was reductive: remove what's not necessary. He standardized parts, limited the number of models and options, and made parts interchangeable. This wasn't an aesthetic choice, it was production arithmetic. Example: the Model T came in one basic design for many years. Fewer variations meant fewer parts, fewer mistakes, and faster assembly. The result? Lower cost and easier repairs. By designing with manufacturing front of mind, Ford made the factory the center of the product's life cycle, not an afterthought. 4. The Assembly Line, Reimagining Work as Flow. Mini title: From Craft to Continuous Motion. Perhaps Ford's most famous contribution is not the car itself, but the moving assembly line. Inspired in part by meatpacking plants and conveyor systems, Ford reorganized production so the car moved past workers who each performed a single, focused task. Metaphor: imagine a river instead of a lake. In a lake, traditional craft production, craftsmen fish for hours in the same spot. In a river, assembly line, the work comes to you. You perform your stroke and it passes on. The throughput multiplies. The math was dramatic. Build time for a car dropped from days to hours. Costs plunged, and prices followed. Crucially, Ford didn't see this as dehumanizing. He saw it as democratizing production. Faster, cheaper production meant cars for the masses. 5. Efficiency as a moral virtue. Mini title: Economic Honesty. For Ford, efficiency wasn't cold calculation. It was ethical. He argued that producing reliably at lower cost allowed more people to access goods, which in turn raised overall living standards. Making products cheaply and selling them reasonably was a kind of public service. He called this: the best way to serve oneself is to serve the world. Reduce waste, simplify processes, pass savings to consumers, and prosperity spreads. 6. Paying workers, the $5 day. Mini title: Wages as Investment, Not Cost. In 1914, Ford introduced a headline-grabbing change: a $5 per day wage, roughly double the going rate. Many saw it as charity. Ford presented it differently. Higher wages reduced turnover, increased pride, and produced a more stable, skilled workforce. Example: before the wage increase, turnover and absenteeism were huge. After raising pay and demanding standards, productivity rose and hiring costs fell. The higher wage paid for itself. Ford also argued that workers who were paid more could afford to buy the very cars they built, closing a loop between production and consumption. 7. Vertical integration, owning the flow. Mini title, control the inputs. Ford believed in controlling as many parts of the production chain as possible. If steel, rubber, coal, or shipping could be managed in-house or closely coordinated, quality improved and costs became predictable. Metaphor: if you bake bread and can grow your own wheat, you control the flour's quality and price. Ford wanted the whole bakery, from field to counter. This vertical integration reduced reliance on suppliers, accelerated innovation, and stabilized production during market swings. It expanded the company into mining, glassworks, and even raw materials. 8. Dealers, distribution, and customer trust. Mini title, make buying easy. Ford didn't stop at production. He thought about how people bought, repaired, and lived with cars. He built a dealer network, standardized parts to make repairs simple, and published clear maintenance instructions. Reliability created trust. Trust created repeat buyers. Ford also believed in straightforward and honest advertising. He hated puffery and exaggerated claims. A good product sold itself if presented honestly. 9. Management philosophy. Clear rules, simple supervision. Mini title, structure without excess. Ford favored clear rules and simple organization. He discouraged unnecessary meetings and complicated hierarchies. Supervisors were expected to know the shop floor and be efficient problem solvers. He valued direct responsibility. If a unit failed, the manager in charge fixed it. If a process failed, engineers reworked it. Bureaucracy was the enemy of quick improvement. 10. Innovation is continuous. Small improvements matter. Mini title, compounding betterment. Ford didn't think innovation had to be dramatic. He believed in relentless small improvements, shaving seconds from a task, redesigning a tool, simplifying a motion. Those small gains compound. Example, a 10-second reduction at one station, repeated across hundreds of cars a day, becomes hours saved monthly. Multiply that across years, and the competitive edge is decisive. This mindset turned the factory into a lab for continuous learning. 11. Attitude toward book learning. Respect for practical knowledge. Mini title, theory with the toolbox. While Ford respected books, he often warned against theory without practice. He prized men who had worked with engines, who understood how parts fit and fail. For Ford, practical skill informed better designs and smarter management. He didn't reject education, he wanted it to be grounded in real work. 12. Controversies and complexity. Not everything is simple. Mini title, take the lessons, not the myth. Ford was a towering figure, but not without flaws or controversies. His personal views and some management choices sparked criticism. Yet the core business lessons, simplify, standardize, think systems, remain useful even if parts of his legacy are contested. It's important to separate the operational genius from social or political opinions we may reject. Learn the method, not the myth. 13. Practical lessons you can use today. Mini title, concrete takeaways. Let's pull out the actionable ideas you can apply now. 1. Have one clear objective. Let it drive design and decisions. 2. Design for manufacture. Think how what you build will be made, serviced, and sold. 3. Standardize where possible. Interchangeable parts reduce mistakes and costs. 4. Optimize flow. Work should move smoothly. Remove handoffs and delays. 5. Invest in people. Higher pay and training can reduce churn and raise quality. 6. Scale improvement. Small efficiencies compound. Measure and iterate. 7. Control your supply chain where it matters. Predictability beats uncertainty. 8. Keep communication plain and honest. Customers and employees value clarity. 14. Ford's lasting legacy, machines and mindsets. Mini title, more than metal. Henry Ford didn't just make cars. He pioneered a way of thinking about production, workers, and markets that still underpins modern manufacturing, operations, and management. The assembly line became a metaphor for modern life. Standardization set the stage for the consumer age. Mass production made everyday goods affordable. Ford remade industry by asking simple, stubborn questions. How can this be cheaper? How can this be simpler? How can people be part of the solution? Wrap up. Simplicity, service, and scale. To finish, my life and work is a lesson in practical thinking. Henry Ford shows that big change often starts with small, relentless improvements powered by clarity of purpose. Simplify the product, design the process, invest in the people who run it, and keep improving. If you take one thing away, let it be this: clarity of goal plus practical experiments plus continuous improvement equals enduring results. That formula built an industry, and it can help you build something worthwhile too. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this summary and want a shorter 5-minute version or a checklist of Ford's practical rules you can apply tomorrow, say the word and I'll make it.